Hey everybody, this is Derek from Badgerland Birding. So I have some cool stuff from SVBONY. This is kind of a sequel to something we did about this little scope adapter that you're actually supposed to put in your scope, and it's supposed to broadcast the image to your phone. So we were only really able to unbox it, but SVBONY sent us a scope that should be compatible with this. So this is like a little thing you can add on to certain scopes to make it fit with the adapter. So take this out first. It's got some little screws in there, and then this is like the actual thing you would put in your scope to then get this to broadcast the picture to your phone. So I'm super excited to test this out. I'm also excited to unbox the scope. It's the SV41 25 to 75 by 70. So 25 to 75x is the magnification, so that's pretty solid. And then 70 is the objective lens millimeter size. It's like basically how big the barrel of your scope's gonna be. This comes in a nice case. It feels pretty light. We have instructions here. And then, yeah, let's see this thing. It does come with a little tripod. I always just put them on my regular tripod. I find these little ones not really that useful unless you're like having it on a table. Cleaning cloth, nice turquoise color. Wow, it's like a little compact. I was not expecting that. I'm a big fan of like compact scopes. Ooh, nice. Let's check this thing out. That is pretty sweet. So this should work with our adapter. Whoa. This does not look like I expected it to. Alright, well let's get this out in the field. I kind of want to like test it out without putting this in, and then we can add this and see what it looks like on the app. But I want to do like a little bit of a scope review first. It feels nice, 2 different materials. But really like the in-field testing is going to be, you know, the real key. So I wanted to just kind of go through looking through the scope and talking about it, because images taken through scopes never do it justice. Like if you're looking through it, it's going to look different than if you're digiscoping. So we're just going to take a quick peek at one of the gulls out here. So let's start at our 25, which is going to be the clearest. There's a nice gull. So I can see the detail well. I do wish the edges were a little more crisp though. Now let's zoom in to 75. Yeah, it's a lot less clear at 75. Like, it almost feels like a little foggy looking. But let's get the adapter on and look at some of the gulls over here. See how that works. I tried digiscoping like with just my phone, and it wasn't really working too well, so we're gonna trust our camera adapter. Carefully gonna unscrew this. I'm gonna put this attachment on. And then our camera on. So we're on video mode. There's video, photo mode. And it was inversed right away, so I did go and flip it. We're way over there, so we need to come to the right. It's definitely harder to find stuff because we're at maximum magnification. Yeah, it's pretty tough to get it to focus and be clear, because anytime I try to adjust the focus wheel, everything kind of shakes. But I am definitely wanting more clarity. We can't go full screen though. We can add grid lines. Looks like we can audio on or off. There's a photo mode. And then, oh yeah, so for each mode, you have to change like the vertical, horizontal. So if it's inverse, you gotta flip it back normal. Yeah, that's like about as clear as I can get it, unfortunately. So first of all, I like that the scope's nice and compact. I wish the focus wheel up here was a little more smooth, and then I feel like our image quality could be a little clearer. It feels almost a little foggy, especially at the 75x magnification. You do expect it to be clearer at the lower magnifications always. It's just gonna be a more clear picture that way. That's pretty standard for scopes, but overall, it does feel like the edges aren't as crisp as I was hoping for. Now, it's hard to say if that's the camera or if it's the scope itself. I think a lot of it has to do with the scope itself, because I've seen people use this adapter before and get some really clear images. And you are constantly having to take stuff off and then put it back on with this kind of setup. And it feels like with something with a scope, I'm worried like dust is gonna get in there or something. It almost feels fragile, and you need places to store those parts while you're switching between them. For a birder using a scope in the field, you want to have it on the lowest magnification, find your target, then move into higher magnification. It's tough if you're the camera on because you're locked into high magnification, so then you're it's hard to scan like that. So I don't know if, probably the most effective way to use this is if you have a feeder or something in your backyard, where you can have this be almost like a tabletop item that you have set up on that feeder, and you can just flip your phone open and look at the image locked on that feeder in focus. Hey everybody, Derek here, back again. I actually have an update. SVBONY sent us a different scope, and this one I like so much better than the other one, just kind of looking through it already. It looks much clearer. There's a fine and a coarse focus, and with this one you can just adjust the ring, take this out, and then you can put the camera in. So we're going to try the camera too, but I want to give just kind of a review of this scope. It's also got a sun shield on it as well, but so far I've really enjoyed it. It's a 20 to 60 by 80, so 20 to 60 zoom or magnification, and then 80 millimeter objective lens diameter. So I'm looking at the gulls over here. It is so much brighter than the other one, but I am really digging this one a lot more. So let's try to get some like digi-scoped video with this so you can see it. The one they sent, I believe it's like a second-hand one, so it had a previous owner, but it came with a case and a cleaning cloth. So it is just not big enough for this adapter. So I'm gonna have to try to hold the phone on, which is always tough. So again, with this type of stuff, the video never does it justice. It looks a little washed out in the video, but in real life it looks really nice and clear. So yeah, I've been digging this one so far. So now let's get our camera in here. So I'm gonna go back to the gulls. Okay, so with this one, we just unscrew this collar, and this comes out. Again, I don't like having to kind of like keep this separate, but I do have covers for it, which makes me feel a little bit better. We'll turn it on. Now, once again with this, we are going to be at our max magnification, I believe. And I did have to account for the vertical, horizontal, and apparently it does make a difference like which way the camera is. So if it's like to the side, the image will be to the side too. So let's go to video mode. There we go. Nice. So I still think it's not as clear as like just looking through the scope itself, but at least we have a solid image, and this is so much easier to focus. Let's go full screen. Yeah, that's nice. So I think you can adjust the like saturation, or maybe the brightness. Oh yeah, so let's leave it on auto. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely not as clear as if you're just looking through the scope, but it's still pretty clear. Let's look at some stuff that's a little further away. So here's a goose. So we can save our video, we can take pictures too. So the type of gear you have hooked up to the camera is going to make a big difference as far as how usable it is. And remember, this camera doesn't work with all scopes. You got to make sure you have a compatible scope, or you have some kind of like adapter like we did for the other scope. So let's see what else, maybe what else we can find here. So we got some geese kind of backlit, a little further out. Maybe some ducks over here. Hey, there's some mallards. Sweet, yeah, this is so much easier to use than with the other scope. So overall, I don't know if it was just the individual product we got sent, but I'm much more of a fan of this. And this is a lot easier to use now and more functional, honestly. Well, overall, that was a much better experience testing with this scope. So I do think kind of our issue the first time we tested was not really the camera adapter, but the scope itself was just not that clear. So I personally don't think I'd recommend the first scope, at least that individual one. Maybe it was just something with the one that they sent us, but the second scope was a lot nicer, and I thought it worked with the camera better. So that kind of opens up applications too, like maybe birders out in the field. I still don't like that you kind of have to take the whole eyepiece out. I kind of just worry about like losing or scratching that kind of stuff, and you're opening it up into like the internal part of the scope. So that's kind of tough. Still not a super fan of that, but we definitely were able to capture some cool images with it. Now, if you could get kind of a similar thing digiscoping, I think you might be able to get something a little clearer maybe. So I think there is still room for improvement with it, but it's definitely cool to test out. So if you want to do something like that, you can check it out, see how it works for you. If you'd like to purchase any of the SVBONY products featured in this video, check out the links in the description below and let us know what you thought of our tests. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.